Hi viewers, I've just had a look and I've noticed we've smashed through the 1000 subscriber viewers barrier. We've also smashed through the 4000 watch hours barrier. Onwards and upwards for this channel. I've got to thank each and every one of you. I never ever thought in my wildest dreams that this was going to happen the way it has. It all started as a little pipe dream and it's blown into something crazy. Okay, so this obviously we're doing something right, so I want to thank each and every one of you, like I have done in the past. Onwards and upwards in here from here. I just don't know when it's going to stop. I don't know when it's going to stop. I'm obviously going to have to buy some more equipment and to get myself more established in this, because you know, if that's just what people want, I'll try and deliver. So once again, thanks for all your loyalty, and I hope you enjoy this next video. Back again viewers, back again. It's not your boy Leroy, it's me. And we're here back on the central promenade, dead facing the Huntsman building. And just thought I'd continue with our little history lesson. So I'm going to do a much more in-depth tour of this building when I get time to get everything and access all areas. But at the moment, I'll start with doing what I can do from the outside. So yeah, I first started in here in 1978. At the time it was owned by Trust House Forties. So Trust House Forties, which then changed to First Leisure. So back in the day then, on this corner here, we had the Ritz cafeteria, which is where Chico's is now. We had Yankee Doodle's burger bar in the middle, where Greedy Zack's is. Back in the day, these stalls here was used to have where the burger bar is. That was always a burger bar. Where Mr. Whippy and the Lick is, that was a large rock stall. They were both owned by the late Bill Coles and run up until they changed hands by Stephen Coles, who I think is still with us. And he probably left us sometime in the 80s. And now, at this moment in time, they are run by a Mr. Griffin. On the corner here where Cafe Chico's is, when it was a Ritz cafeteria, it used to be a large fish and chip takeaway. Back in the day it was very, very busy, and where these tables are, if you can remember, they used to be the entrance to the subway. You know, so there was no chance of having tables here, because that was the entrance to the subway, which used to take you across to the opposite side of the promenade. So yeah, it's a little brief history on them few stalls there. Just a little bit that I've had to add in, because if Stephen Coles is still with us, I don't think he'd I don't think he'd be very happy with me for not remembering him. Okay. Yeah, so guys, so you might remember this entrance here that used to go up to the Riviera Casino, where it says Family Fun Amusements now. Yeah, after the Riviera Casino, we had Movie Magic. Movie Magic was there. A lot of you might remember Movie Magic for its like horror exhibitions, Gremlins up there. We had, oh, there was all sorts. Yeah, so the one thing that will probably jog your memory is on the roof there, just above where it says Greedy Zack's, we used to have a big King Kong holding a body upside down. That was part of the Movie Magic exhibition that used to be housed in the former Riviera Casino. When Kenyans took over the building, about 95 I think. Anyway, we took that staircase out that led up to that room, extended the arcade, because it's very, very difficult, even in them days, to get people upstairs. So, yeah, that's where Movie Magic used to be back in the day, if you remember that one. and obviously the big King Kong on the top of the building there used to be there. And we just had basically the amusement centre. Didn't particularly have a name. In the middle there, we also had, where you can see the blue there, the Jaeger beer keller. The Jaeger beer keller, which was in its heyday in the 70s and 80s. Many people will remember the good nights down there. Many people. Okay, brief history on it. After Trust House 40s sold it to Billy Ratcliffe. Billy Ratcliffe bought it around about 1980-81. He ran it for a good few years. Throughout that time, he installed a bingo in there on the concession to Chris McKinnon. Chris McKinnon, who also had a bingo further south down there called the Monte Carlo. So the Monte Carlo arcade and bingo down there, and he also had a bingo within what is now Happy Days Amusements, but didn't really have a name at the time. So Billy Ratcliffe, who come down with a nasty disease in the late 80s, and handed down the business to his brother and sister. So you had Yvonne Gray and Leslie Ratcliffe and Harriet Ratcliffe that took over the running of the business, and they kept it for a good few years. I was the manager of the arcade there for Leslie Ratcliffe at the time. He ran it for about another 10 years, and then there was a decision to dissolve the partnership and therefore sell the property. And Terry Kenyon and his brother Barry, who still own it to this day, although sadly Barry's passed away, but Terry Kenyon, who owned the shoe market businesses throughout Lancashire, now owns this property. The beer keller sadly closed its doors a good few years ago, and it's struggled ever since. The arcade, well, I run it for Terry Kenyon for around about 10 to 15 years, and then I took it over myself, and I've now been running it, well, renting it should I say, for about 15 years. So there you have it. That's a brief history on that building. The arcade used to be double the size, and I give half of it back 3 or 4 years after taking it over, to be honest, because the running costs were astronomical and it was just too much. And I am so glad that I did now with the price of electric, because if I'd have been continued to keep it now, I'd be in dire trouble. So yeah, glad I've got the reduced arcade, reduced size, and I'm glad we took the cafe back at the back, and we're now in the process of moving forward with it. Okay, so that's about it on the outside of this building, because if I wanted to go back further than when I was here, originally on the end of that building, Chapel Street used to be half the size, and there was Fairyland on the end of that building. Where Cafe Chico's is now, that was a Ritz Cinema. In the where it says Happy Days Food Outlets there and Amusements dead in front of me, that was the entrance to the Riviera Casino upstairs, which I'll show you a bit more of when I do the video of the internal parts of this building. Okay, moving on here, you got the Waxworks building here. So that first part of it, the tallest part of this structure, that was the original size of the Waxworks. It used to be on stilts, if everyone can remember. It used to be on stilts at the bottom, so it wasn't glassed in around the bottom, it was on stilts. and that's where the doorman of the Waxworks used to welcome everybody in, and that's where the queues used to form. And if I remember right, there used to be a little ice cream stall underneath there as well, underneath the Waxworks at the back there. It's like the Waxworks, yeah, like I said, it was it's called Madame Tussauds now, it knows. So that tallest part of the structure, that was originally the Waxworks. It used to house the horrors, Chamber of Horrors downstairs, and the Hall of Legends and whatnot upstairs, and it was so much better back in the day. I'm not for all this new stuff, but anyway, that's how it is. If you move on to this next part of the building, the lower part of the building, which has got this like turret on the top, this was, I'm just trying to cast my mind back, it was originally, before it was a Waxworks, it was the Oasis arcade. The Oasis arcade, which was run by Gerald Steinberg. He actually knocked down the original building and rebuilt this building. His business was, I think his headquarters was in Northern Ireland. Yep, so he built that back in the 80s, run it for a number of years. And casting my mind back, there was a nasty incident in there where a child got into the back of a crane and sadly passed away, got electrocuted. And everything went downhill for them from that day onwards. Yeah, so we had so it was Joyland Amusements, that was the name of the company. The arcade was called Oasis Arcade, and it ran for a number of years. It even had a go-kart track on the 3rd floor. It was a 3-floor arcade. It had the arcade bottom floor with the bingo. They had like an open plan ceiling where you could look through from the 1st floor down into the arcade. On the 1st floor they had Orbiter bumper cars. On the 2nd floor they had the go-karts on the 2nd floor in this building back in the day. Yeah, it ran for quite a few years. Before that, before Gerald Steinberg bought that, it was the B arcade, if anyone can cast their mind back. On this, right next door to the arcade, to the Waxworks, underneath where it was on stilts, there's the entrance to the B arcade, which housed at this very corner HMS Bingo. HMS as in Harry Myers. Harry Myers was the man that put it there. Harry Myers' bingo used to be on that corner underneath the Waxworks within the B arcade. You used to walk into the B arcade, and inside the B arcade you also had another bingo called Double Bingo. So you had Double Bingo and Harry Myers Bingo in that one arcade. Added to that, we had the bingo in Happy Days Arcade, which wasn't called Happy Days at the time. It was Trust House 40s. It was just the Jaeger. I think we called it the Jaeger Bingo because of the arcade. The beer keller was called the Jaeger Beer Keller. I think we called the bingo the Jaeger Bingo, casting my mind back. But yeah, so you had, in that short space, that short distance there was 3 bingos. 3 bingos in just between them 2 buildings. So that's how popular prize bingo was back in the day. Anyway, going back to the B arcade. On the front of the B arcade, we had a central entrance where there was a burger bar one side and a seafood bar on the other side of the entrance as you walked in. And one of the mechanical donut machines in there was one of the first ones that I ever saw. I remember it back in the day when I was a kid. I used to stand there watching donuts for hours being made. So yeah, the B arcade was, from when I was a child, the B arcade was owned by a guy called Ernie Nicholson, a lovely fella. So Ernie Nicholson had that for a number of years when it was the B arcade. It even had the remnants of an old ghost train upstairs, I remember, but it wasn't operating from when I come down here in the late 70s. But yeah, Ernie Nicholson, it was called the B arcade. Later to be called My Dad's Arcade after his father. I think I'm not 100% certain, I think his father must have had it before him. and when his father's passed away, I think he changed the name of it to My Father's Arcade. So that, yeah, like I said, Gerald Steinberg took control of that. Joyland Amusements knocked it down and built the Oasis Arcade, which ran for a number of years until that fatal accident of that child, and that's when it all went down for him. Right, okay, so yeah, that's the brief history on this building here. Sorry if it's taking a bit of time to go along this stretch of the promenade, but there's been so many changes over the years. It's going to take a bit of time, this stretch. So I think, although I've only covered 3 buildings there, which you've now got Peter Rabbit there. That's new this year, I forgot to put that one in there. Peter Rabbit on the end there. I'm going to have to end this video at this point before I move on to the next couple of buildings, because there's so much history in these buildings. I'm finding it very hard to compile it all into one large video, so I'm going to go bit by bit till we get along here. And got to remember, viewers, I'm doing all this from memory, so if any of you think I may have got something wrong, put your comments in below. It's not a problem for me. I'm doing it from my memory. I haven't got any notes. I've got nothing jotted down. I'm just spouting my mouth as I walk along and jogging my memory. So yeah, if you've got anything, if you want to put me right, put me right. But I've gone up to and including the Peter Rabbit exhibition there on the end of the Waxworks. If you want to put me right on anything, please do. Okay, signing out for now, and hope to see you on the next one. If you like this video, hit the like button and subscribe, and hopefully I'll be doing a lot more of this in the future. But yeah, from my own memory, that's the best I can do for you up to this point, unless something else jogs my memory later and I'll pull back to it. Once again, I'm out of here. See you guys. Sayonara. Bye for now.